San Francisco. That's where we find Jim Cramer. And Jim, being out there looks like it's been a lot of fun. I've been watching you try some cool things, talk about some really interesting ideas out there, and just the beautiful backdrop that we'll see once the sun comes up there. But you've been seeing firsthand a lot of the EV stuff that we've been talking about. Lucid, saw you with some of the cars there, and comparing that to what we're seeing with Lucid and Rivian is something we've been trying to get our arms around today. We had a guest on earlier who was talking about consumer trends, which is interesting, but it's really hard to make the math work for the valuations that you see in a Rivian or something at this point. How are you thinking about it based on what you've seen and your experiences, but then also how you do the homework?
I love that discussion because the output was, what, 1 out of every 4 people now wants one. I think it's very regional. I think that 1 out of every 1 people wants one here. And that the issue is that are there enough? The rest of the country, I'm not so sure. I just don't think they have the infrastructure, it was pointed out. But I will say this. Out here, the environment is what people talk about, not the car. And the environment and purpose-driven, you just hear it over and over again to the point where you actually start believing it. We're so cynical in the East, we don't realize that the people out here seem to be completely motivated by the idea that they're ruining the environment with the internal combustion engine. So that imperative trumps anything involving convenience even. People go out of their way to try to save the environment. I'm not saying that we're huge polluters in the East. I am saying it's job one out here.
You have talked, though, about how you would advise investors in these stocks to maybe move in and out a little more frequently because you never know what's going to happen. And they have seen some real big love that they've gotten in the first few weeks since, let's just say, Rivian's IPO.
But I think that there's an element of responsible speculation that's almost impossible here because there's so much I wish I had gotten Tesla-itis. That everybody's angry. I mean, the way to get back at themselves for the way to stop kicking themselves over Tesla is to go buy Rivian, go buy Lucid. But there may only be one. I mean, it's entirely possible that Tesla is Amazon and that there was no second Amazon. So even though I like all these companies' cars and they look really good, the idea that they could have 17,000 reservations for a Lucid and you could make 17,000 Fords in a minute, and somehow Lucid's worth more than Ford, does create problems mentally. But I will say that Lucid's cars are, I'm sure they're going to sell out, and Ford's aren't. But anyway, look, I said to club members, the best way is to play Ford, because if Ford decided out of nowhere that they just wanted to be an EV company, they would be worth a lot more than they are selling right now. And that's kind of a strange thing. But if they shut down everything but EV, their stock would be worth more than Lucid.